Today the topic, the priority, and the presentation will deal with sustainable development of small rural communities in marginal areas. We are full of presentations and full of very interesting projects. So your humble moderator will just manage the traffic, but to start, we are honored to have with us Madame Cécile Kyenge, former Italian Minister of Integration, currently member of the European Parliament, Deputy Chair of the delegation to the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly, and member of the delegation for relations with the Pan-African Parliament. I leave the floor to Madame Kyenge for her welcome address.
Merci, moi je parlerai en français. J'espère que... on m'a dit qu'il y a la traduction, donc je peux procéder en français, il n'y a pas de problème. Premièrement, j'aimerais remercier les organisateurs pour m'avoir invité ici, mais surtout pour avoir choisi un thème très important à l'intérieur de cette semaine qui parlera surtout la semaine pour les bonnes pratiques. Et je crois que c'est un thème sur lequel on doit beaucoup investir, sur lequel on doit beaucoup travailler. Et comme j'ai été présentée quand j'étais dans le gouvernement précédent, le gouvernement l'État, j'étais ministre de l'intégration et un des points sur lesquels j'avais beaucoup insisté, c'était sur les bonnes pratiques. Donc, mon intention, c'était la possibilité de créer une plateforme avec les bonnes pratiques, de pouvoir les intégrer dans un système institutionnel. Mais je crois que ça doit partir de la société civile, ça doit partir une participation qui part du bas, c'est-à-dire des organisations non gouvernatives, de tout ce qui est comme participation du territoire. Donc, se retrouver aujourd'hui et parler justement de ce thème de comment nourrir la planète, je crois que c'est fondamental. Et après avoir assisté à 7 projets africains d'un continent aussi important, puisque la délégation ACP-Ouest, c'est Afrique, Pacifique et Caraïbes. Et donc, je m'occupe de ces 3 territoires, c'est-à-dire là où on fait... Ah, ok, moi je croyais qu'il y avait quelque chose qui n'allait pas. Et donc, justement, comme je disais, Afrique, Caraïbes, Pacifique, et voir que 7 projets qui ont gagné le prix sur les bonnes pratiques proviennent de l'Afrique. Et je crois que c'est un signal très important, un signal qui doit nous dire que l'agriculture dans cette partie de la planète, c'est une des priorités sur lesquelles on doit beaucoup travailler pour aller vers un développement durable. Donc, se retrouver et parler des bonnes pratiques et pour les petites communautés rurales, c'est, moi je trouve que c'est quelque chose qui doit nous interpeller, surtout comme institution, pour savoir que le milieu rural, le milieu qui semble marginalisé, c'est un des milieux sur lesquels on doit beaucoup investir pour essayer d'aller vers un développement, sûrement un développement durable. Donc, partir de l'Expo avec ce thème pour... aller dans tous ces 3 dans ces 3 coins de la planète avec un projet, puisque aujourd'hui je sais qu'il y a un des projets qui a gagné le prix, c'est le projet Africa Meat Project. Et dans le passé, j'ai participé activement en tant qu'activiste dans la société civile. J'ai pu collaborer, j'ai pu travailler avec les gens qui ont développé ce projet, c'est-à-dire l'organisation CEFA, et qui est une ONG qui provient de ma région. Moi, je proviens de l'Emilia-Romagna, donc c'est une des régions d'où est né CEFA. C'est une des régions qui a commencé avec ce projet, et je crois que c'est un signal très important. Et surtout, le président de cette association, Giovanni Bersani, a été pendant plusieurs années le président et vice-président justement de la assemblée ACPOE. Donc, je ne fais que parcourir, c'est-à-dire derrière Giovanni Bersani, ce qu'il a fait à l'intérieur de cette assemblée. Et une des priorités que Giovanni Bersani avait mis dans sa politique quand il est entré au niveau du Parlement, c'était celui de pouvoir travailler sur l'agriculture, politique de l'agriculture et pour un développement durable. Merci. Et je crois que ça serait mieux pour moi de pouvoir écouter ce qui se passe aujourd'hui plutôt que d'intervenir beaucoup. Donc, je laisserai la parole aux autres. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Madame Kyenge. I invite you to sit in the so the topic will be introduced as usual by a speaker that will give us some key concept, general concept, and then we will see the practical implementation and operation of this concept in the reality with the best practices. So I will call on the stage Andrew Macmillan, who is former economist of FAO, that will tell us about the sustainable development of smart rural communities. Some very few data. Smallholder farms are 60% or 70% of global agriculture. Manage vast areas of land, produce a lot of food, but the paradox is they make up the largest share of the unnourished people in the world. So please, Mr. Macmillan, sorry.
Good, thank you very much. Very nice to be here amongst friends and people who share similar interests. It's my second visit to Expo. After the first visit, I started to wonder, is there a real connection between the kind of meetings we're having here in conference centres and what the 20 million visitors who are coming to Expo are really thinking about? Are we making that connection satisfactorily, or are we two different groups, one lot of people deep into the subject of food and hunger and food management, and maybe another group who are here to look at the pavilions? What I hope is that most visitors will go to Pavilion Zero, because that's where there is a very, very convincing explanation of the history of food and the problems faced by generations to survive, store enough food, avoid famine, and so on. And I hope that Pavilion Zero and the audiovisual screen set up by the UN throughout the site, the 18 audiovisual screens, will give a lot of visitors to Expo some of the serious messages which we're talking about here. And they'll leave with a better appreciation of the huge challenges of matching food supplies to global needs, and probably more importantly, of translating food availability into healthy nutrition. Because, as you were alluding to it, more than half the world's people don't eat well. In spite of ample food availability, we've got 800 million who are chronically hungry, maybe 2 billion who are suffering from malnutrition related to vitamin and mineral malnutrition, protein malnutrition, and then another 1.5 billion overweight or obese from another form of malnutrition. So more than half of the world's 7.2 billion are malnourished. What I'd hope is that these type of facts which have been put forward will make people who come to Expo indignant at the fact that although enough food is available for all to eat well, 800 million people face daily hunger because they can't afford to buy the food they need or to acquire it to live healthily. I believe this is the greatest injustice of our time, the time we're living in now, and but governments that fail to run their countries in ways that allow all their people to eat adequately, and hence, and thereby condemn them to almost certain premature death, are, as I've written in a recent book, they are guilty of famicide. Not genocide, but famicide, and it's just as bad, but nobody talks of it. And I think we need to talk more about it. The Feeding Knowledge program rightly promotes innovations in the food system and is itself highly innovative in its own approaches. It makes a very practical link between Expo here in Milan and the processes of change that drive the development of agriculture and food management systems across the world. CIHAM and Milan Polytechnic University deserve congratulations for creating and managing a groundbreaking system for identifying promising innovations, selecting the best practices, and drawing them to the attention not just to visitors to Expo, but also to members of a rapidly expanding network of scholars, researchers, and academics. Today's event concentrates on the winners of the best practices that relate to the sustainable development of small farm communities in marginal areas, and many congratulations to the teams from Tanzania, Senegal, Sri Lanka, from whom we'll be hearing today. We'll be focusing attention on 3 winners, but we have to bear in mind that they are selected from over 170 qualifying proposals in this category. And I've looked through the full range of these proposals, as many of you may have done, on the website, and one's struck by the huge breadth of the initiatives in terms of the ranges of farming systems, related activities covered, as well as, of course, a number of countries which have come forward with their innovations. I just can't understand, in fact, how the committee and people working in the committee could have actually selected 3 out of all these. They all seem like award winners, not just 3, and I think we have to think of this collectivity. So I wanted to make 3 brief reactions to the proposals, and then raise one fundamental policy issue that goes above the proposals but is relevant to them all, and finally express one very brief wish for the future. First, my reactions to proposals. Contrary to the generally held view that rural communities are dying, which many are, as younger people leave in search of better lifestyles, Feeding Knowledge shows that there are lots of communities around the world that remain highly dynamic, creative, and very open to innovation. And I think very often people think small farmers, small communities, marginal areas, forget them. But here we see the richness which is available there. Secondly, rural communities have themselves a strong vested interest in assuring their own sustainability, especially from social and environmental perspectives. They're often the guardians of sustainability in terms of resource use, in terms of technologies, in terms of social systems. And this means that they're bound to play an increasingly important role in making the urgent shift to sustainable food management systems. They're the natural leaders for this. We're not going to expect big business to be very interested in sustainable systems that don't rely on heavier inputs. But the rural communities in tough conditions are going to be the leaders of the changes to sustainable conditions. Thirdly, few of the proposals focus on yield maximization. This is something that didn't strike me immediately, but most of the proposals are concerned not with input-intensive agriculture, but instead they concentrate on innovations emerging from the communities which are concerned with, first, reducing exposure to risks and to vulnerability to shocks. Secondly, improving labour productivity, particularly the use of time in the home and the use of time in all the routine tasks that go on in looking after livestock and crops. But through technology changes, but also there are certain elements, and I think very evident in the Sri Lankan one, through improvements in nutrition, getting rid of malnutrition within the families that are producing food. Thirdly, gaining marketing advantages through the creation of associations and through better quality enhancement. And that shines out of the three proposals today. The policy issue, and this doesn't emerge from these proposals, not directly, my view is that to the extent that rural communities are at risk of collapse, and many are, this is because most governments adopt policies that implicitly encourage consumers not to pay a full and fair price for food, a price that ensures that those who produce our food are not systematically exploited. And we had, I think you probably saw last week or 2 weeks ago, even here in Italy, in North Italy, in Piemonte, next door to here, there were an article by Slow Food and Slow Wine on the plight of Macedonian workers in the vineyards of Lagna and Monferrato, paid €3 per hour in a society which can well afford to pay for its food and pay a fair and decent price. So exploitation of animals, exploitation of people, right here in one of the most prosperous countries in Europe, but even worse in many other parts. It's a complete injustice. So we're finding that we need to go for prices that ensure that consumers pay for the costs of environmental, climate change and health damage related to food overconsumption and waste, because these are costs now being passed on by us as consumers to future generations, to our children and their children, because somebody's got to clear up the damage sometime. We're making a lot of damage and not paying for it. Unless there's a fundamental rethinking on food pricing policies, we shall continue to see 70% of the chronically hungry and extreme poor concentrated in rural areas, as they are now. Food consumers should, in my view, become the main driving force for sustainable rural communities. However, a precondition for that is, these sweeping changes, is that pricing policies, there must be in place social protection measures that guarantee the food consumption by the poorest families, both rural and urban, who would otherwise be hurt by price rises. But it's much cheaper to subsidize those in need until the benefits of price rises begin to be felt than to effectively give a free ride to those of us who can and should pay more for our food. My last point is my wish, and it relates to the legacy of Expo, which were referred to by several speakers during Monday's awards ceremony. I would like to see the creation of a generously endowed funding facility that would sponsor interchanges of experience and ideas between the involved communities in this 170 communities that have been brought together through this process, so that they can learn from each other. This would essentially be a lightly managed travel grant program run on a demand-driven basis, offering communities ways of either buying in experience from others in the group or sharing their experience and taking it to others in the group to promulgate their experiences. It's just a suggestion, but I hope it will be taken seriously, because I think we need to build on the initiative and on the motion which has already been created. Thank you very much, and I look forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Macmillan. If I may add something to your insightful, please, to your insightful speech. Maybe policies, maybe government can fail, but people organize themselves. And feeding knowledge is all about this. It's all about the organization, the self-organization of communities to respond to sustainability challenges. And we will see now the three of the winners of the for this topic, for this priority, the sustainable development of small rural communities in marginal areas. And we are starting from Tanzania. We have Mr. Johannes Kamunga, Mr. Kamunga, that will give his presentation on the Africa Milk Project. Madame Kyenge was referring to it. Please come to the stage. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. As I was trying to understand from the previous speaker, Dr. Macmillan, and during the opening of this session from Madam Kyenge, there could be a lot of words to say about our project. But unfortunately that we have a very short time, and this must be respected because the initiatives are so many. But also on our side, if you could permit me, dear presenter, to interrupt me when I spend my 3 minutes. And the other 3 minutes will be spent by the president of CEFA, this is a civil organization from Bologna, and the other 3 minutes will be spent by Dr. Giovanni Beccari, who will finish putting the topmost layer of our discussion. So if you wish, then we can, if we can, we can launch the video, or how, it is a, yeah, it's here, yeah.
Is this one?
Yes, that one. It is self-explaining, and then after. Bridge all the stakeholders together. I can say also the district council, the government in general, has supported this project very much. They gave us a lot of facilitations in terms of permits, exemptions when we were importing the equipment. I'm convinced that this model of a project can be even repeated in Africa.
The milk factory is important to me because now I've got a market of my milk. Every time when I pay over, I turn it. So after that, the factory management realized that I'm an trusted man. That's why they offered me to be a purchasing officer. My duty is administration and accountancy department. I've been implementing a system to control more cost and revenue, and to reach the
So don't worry, this is 4 minutes.
2013.
We have 10 minutes total. 10 minutes for the total presentation.
So that we can pay people so that they can have good life. My contribution is trying to convince my
3 minutes me, the other 3 minutes, and the 4 minutes I think we can get the 10 minutes.
Yes,
we will be finished this week.
Contribution to the schools, to the hospitals. We are here to work so that we can move from that poverty.
We demanded the price of milk to be high for the factory to work effectively.
Yeah, Johannes is my official name. Yeah.
And so we decided to reduce the price. Since then, things have been going on well.
Pianoro ci ha messo la sua essenza in questo progetto. Abbiamo seguito le fasi, diciamo, di costruzione della latteria, quindi la parte industriale, la formazione e dell'organizzazione di tanti piccoli produttori che hanno imparato giorno per giorno a credere soprattutto nella loro latteria.
This dream would not have started with
without Father Camilo, a Consolata missionary who introduced Chefa into the Catholic Diocese of Njombe in Tanzania. What you see today is a result of the cooperation between the diocese, Chefa, and other members. Now we are going into the biggest difficult phase, the company. We have board members and we have shareholders. This is the beginning of a better future.
So it's okay. It's true. Yeah, thank you very much. So with this presentation, we can say the output of this intervention is the formation of a company which involves the previous stakeholders, as you heard, the Diocese of Njombe, the District Council, the Dairy Farmers Association called Njorifa, together are now managing this company through their board of directors. They have a number of activities. They have go on solving the concerns which were aimed through the whole process of this project. And we can, briefly, I can say, as it's been seen here, cooperating between the civil society, non-government organization, it means SEFA, the Farmers Association. On one side, the government has a very big role, besides the fact that the government of Italy financed this initiative. SEFA also put some of its resources. The local government also has had a major role to play in this, and especially the beneficiaries, the dairy farmers themselves, who have put together their resources through their association and provided milk, which was previously a problem to the society because it seemed that the amount of milk produced was already in excess in the society. So we had to look for distant markets, and in order to access distant markets, you need milk must be at least pasteurized. Now in Njombe and in our country, you have good, very good products from this milk factory. Let's say pasteurized milk, safe, clean for children and the sick, cheese, which can be sold in the upper and higher level markets in Dar es Salaam, all for this very small money from Njombe rural areas. Thank you very much. So now I'm inviting our president of SEFA Italy, Dottoressa Patrizia Farorini, to take a word. Thank you.
Okay, just a few words because I think the images have already told us many aspects of the project. I have just three aspects that I would like to underline. The key point related to time of implementation of the project. As many of you, I think, know, the projects are always funded for 2-3 years by the EU, by the governments, and so on. To implement a self-development project like the one that we have seen, we need much more time. Because to work with the communities means to go slowly, to give time to the community to feel that the milk factory is for them and is under their own responsibility. So really, we know the history of the white elephant and, or the history of the big cathedral in the desert. To build a milk factory is not very difficult, but to make the factory to work really for the community and to make the communities to feel the ownership and to have the competence to deal with the milk production is not a joke. So I think it's more than 15 years, John, that we work in the milk factory. So the results is for this. And now this is because many times when we apply for projects, we know that this is the main project. It's better to have less money for more time than to have a huge amount of money for a short time. The second aspect is, of course, we speak about self-development project because only the communities know how to change their future. So what we can do as international community, as international NGOs, is to support this kind of work. And so that means that we can provide the skills, the technical skills, the administrative skills, because many times we think about the practical aspect, but to be able to manage a factory means to be able to manage in a proper way the budget and to be able to do it for a long time. Just an answer to, very short, to Mr. Macmillan, I think is also a responsibility of the international communities and international NGOs and also of the project like this to help people to understand that when we speak about hunger, we don't speak just about people dying. This is what generally we show in our communication, unfortunately, because we should be able to make people to understand that really behind the problem of hunger, there are communities that are working and that are working hardly. This creativity that was mentioned is really true. And so we have to be able to communicate to them that the resources are there and that we can empower people to go and to work by themselves. CEFA will go away from Giombe. Granarolo also, because they are able to work by themselves.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we go ahead with Mr. Baba Sol that will present us a Senegal project about the eradication of the tsetse fly Glossina palpalis gambiensis from the Niaves in Senegal. Sorry.
How to move Nazis, okay. Yes. Okay. Bonjour, je vais parler en français, mais les diapos sont en anglais, ça va faciliter un peu la compréhension. Cette présentation a été préparée avec mes collègues donc de la coordination du projet, et le docteur Momata Alosek de l'Institut sénégalais de recherche agricole, M. Jérémy Boyer, qui est du CIRAD en France, et de Marc Vreysen de l'Agence internationale de l'énergie atomique. Les mouches tsetse et les trypanosomoses sont très mal connues ailleurs qu'en Afrique. La mouche tsetse que vous voyez ici n'existe qu'en Afrique et elle transmet ce parasite aux hommes et aux animaux. Aux hommes, ça cause la maladie du sommeil. Et chez les animaux, ça cause la trypanosomose. Donc, elle infeste 38 pays, en rouge ici, soit 10 millions de kilomètres carrés. Très fertile, très propice à l'agriculture et à l'élevage, mais avec cette contrainte-là, de la maladie du sommeil chez les hommes et donc de la trypanosomose chez les animaux. Il n'y a pas que les bovins, il y a les chevaux, les petits ruminants, les porcs, les dromadaires et la faune sauvage. Et donc, cette contrainte a poussé les pays africains à mettre en place la PATEC. C'est la campagne panafricaine donc pour l'éradication de la mouche tsetse et la trypanosomose. Donc, pour un peu pouvoir mieux exploiter ces terres qui sont favorables à l'agriculture en général. et donc pour lutter contre la pauvreté et appuyer les communautés qui vivent de cette activité. Pour revenir à notre contexte, la zone des Niayes, la tripano est une contrainte majeure dans cette zone qui a un microclimat très favorable, une zone très dynamique avec beaucoup d'activités agricoles et d'élevage. Et donc, si on parvient à réduire donc, l'impact, la contrainte de la trypanosomose et de la mouche 7C, il y aura beaucoup d'innovation, n'est-ce pas? Et les éleveurs vont pouvoir changer leur mode de fonctionnement quotidien. Je vais passer très rapidement sur les aspects techniques. Ici, vous avez les différentes stratégies que nous utilisons avec le traitement du bétail, le déploiement de pièges imprégnés, de filets imprégnés, et la technique de l'insecte stérile avec des lâchers de mâles stériles, donc de glossine, pour éliminer définitivement la population. Je ne vais pas insister sur ces aspects techniques-là. Et donc, ça nous a causé beaucoup de travail à tous les niveaux, au bureau, au labo et sur le terrain surtout. Je vais insister sur... et ça, ces activités techniques-là nous ont permis, ici, de réduire, donc sur le plan entomologique, les populations de mouches 7C, qui sont autour de 0 maintenant, et de réduire la maladie, n'est-ce pas, à moins de 1% de prévalence. Et maintenant, ces résultats techniques-là, nous devions montrer quand même l'impact sur les populations. Il ne s'agit pas simplement d'enlever la mouche et la maladie. Il faut montrer pourquoi on le fait et, n'est-ce pas, quel est l'intérêt. Donc, nous avons conduit une étude socio-économique ex ante sur pratiquement le 10e des fermes qui sont dans la zone. Et l'exploitation de ce questionnaire-là, n'est-ce pas, nous a permis de voir avec les éleveurs, de comprendre que si, au terme du projet, donc, les éleveurs vont changer de comportement, puisque actuellement, l'élevage se fait souvent de manière traditionnelle, avec beaucoup d'animaux qui ne produisent presque rien. L'objectif, c'est d'avoir des races plus productives, en petit nombre, et avoir plus de production, n'est-ce pas? Et là, le questionnaire nous a montré que les éleveurs vont aller dans ce sens-là et vont réduire de 45% la taille de leur exploitation. Donc, avec des animaux plus productifs qui ne peuvent pas, pour le moment, vivre là-bas à cause de la maladie. Donc, ce sera des métis ou des races importées. Nous avons aussi fait une étude de coût-bénéfice et testé 2 scénarios. Donc, ici, vous avez les coûts du projet qui vont, après 10 ans, s'annuler. Et nous avons testé les 2 scénarios, n'est-ce pas, avec un premier scénario qui, avec peu d'innovation, 2% seulement d'innovation. Mais vous voyez, même avec ce 2% d'innovation, les ventes vont augmenter progressivement et vont avoisiner 2 millions d'euros par an. Donc, après 10 ans après la fin du projet, à peu près. Mais le deuxième scénario, qui le constate le plus, n'est-ce pas, que nous attendons vraiment, est beaucoup plus rapide, avec un taux d'innovation de 10% pour les 5 premières années, avant de venir à un plateau de 2%. Et là, ça nous conduit à des gains, n'est-ce pas, issus des produits de vente d'animaux et des produits d'animaux, à 3 millions d'euros par an. Ce qui change vraiment la vie des populations. Et c'est des résultats durables parce que la zone ne peut pas être réinfestée par les glossines parce qu'elle est isolée. L'étude de faisabilité a montré que les glossines, les mouches 7C qui sont situées plus au sud dans la grande zone ne peuvent pas revenir dans cette petite zone des Niayes. Et... Ah, ça ne passe plus. Donc, c'est la conclusion. Nous avons constaté déjà, les 2 éleveurs qui sont avec nous, malheureusement, ne sont pas encore là. Ils ont dû se perdre dans le métro milanais. Mais eux-mêmes ont déjà constaté beaucoup d'avantages Rien que la piqûre des mouches, parce que c'est des mouches qui piquent et ça fait mal. Rien que ça, déjà, c'est un bénéfice, parce qu'il y a beaucoup moins de piqûres, il n'y en a presque plus. Il y a beaucoup moins de dépenses maintenant en médicaments vétérinaires, parce qu'il faut traiter les animaux, sinon ils meurent. Et plus maintenant les innovations que nous attendons, nous pensons que ce projet-là est durable et bénéfique pour les populations. Je vous remercie avec cette séance où nous avons récupéré notre prix. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Sall. The third winner project is from Sri Lanka. Reconciliation happens through respect for environment, healthy organic food, and joint marketing opportunities. The presentation is by Mr. Noor Mohammed Fazli. I invite to the stage, please.
And I have a small video. Good morning to you all. Ayubowan. Greetings from Sri Lanka. Oops, sorry. First, I'll go to the presentation.
As you want.
Yes. Okay.
The presentation is already here.
Okay.
Just
First, go to the present. Yeah.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Thank you. Good morning and welcome again. In our Sri Lankan experience, we working with some small-scale farmers, and our topic, as it suggests, reconciliation happens through respect to environment, healthy organic foods, and joint marketing opportunities. Because we specially mention about reconciliation because we have been a nation faced with 30 years of civil war, and the war has been completed about 6-7 years ago. And we work with 2 ethnic communities who were engaged in the war. So this is not only something to improve their livelihood, but to make the communities together in the long run. So all the communities we have been working is completely has been displaced, and they have been newly resettled. So there are some problems because I have been following many presentations over the past few days, and in most cases, when we talk about agriculture, most of the presentations are about big farms. But in Sri Lankan context, it's very different. All are small-scale farmers, like less than 1 hectare of production lands. So this gives some other problems, like they cannot have the problem of have a power of bargain, so they have to follow the system of the market, do monoculture. Then to do the monoculture, they have to do high chemical inputs. And this has resulted a very unique situation in Sri Lanka known as CKDU, chronic kidney disease of unidentified origin, where farmers, like if you take 10 farm families, one or two member of the family is has faced the kidney disease and life-threatening. I mean, every 1 out of 10 families, they have someone died out of kidney disease due to high chemical contamination. Apart from this, the environmental and climatic problems like drought, flood, crop loss, they were giving way to increase the problem. And considering these newly settled communities, they have less infrastructure because all has been destroyed by the war, and low marketing networks. So this will give them the situation to high dependency on outside resources for seeds, fertilizer, and credit. So these are the problems we wanted to address through our program, and we have worked with something like 2,000 farmers in 2 districts. And what we did was we organized the farmers into villages and groups because we want to strengthen them. In some villages already the farmer societies were there, and if not, we have formed them. And again, we broke them into small groups because if there's one farmer society, it's very big. All the farmers cannot come to one point. So they were again divided into small groups, they can function well. Because they were newly resettled, they need new trainings. So first year of the project was heavily emphasized on capacity building and attitude change, because we wanted to change the attitude from agriculture can be done by organic means of methods with less chemical input. So then we did a very big training session, and the officers were well trained. They were to train the small groups, and the small groups will be maintained through the officers' continuous monitoring. We used organic farming methods, mixed cropping, and analog forestry. And I'll take a small time to describe analog forestry, because here in the picture you can see how farm to forest looks like. So as the picture suggests, the productivity of the farm is low because it's highly outside, many inputs has to be provided by the outside. But within the same ecosystem, you will find a very productive system, which is the natural forest. But it will not give you the economic benefit. So we have to find something in between, which is low input and also which can give you economic benefit. So what we do is the forest will use increased layers of light, soil, and it has some symbiotic relationships. It builds the soil fertility. So what we do is we go to the natural ecosystem, we find a plant, and we replace it with a plant which is useful and giving the same kind of utility. So this is simply known as analog forestry, which increases farm soil productivity, crop productivity, and it has a very good resilience for climatic changes. Like the natural forest will always address the problems of changes, but the farm will not. So this is a simple method we used, and to increase the farm productivity, we trained them on producing organic fertilizer and organic pesticides at their home level. So they were self-sufficient on that. And to address the problems of seed saving, we introduced seed savings and seed exchange mechanism between small groups and villages, and to make it sure continuous advisory service and follow-up. Then we also included some other special thing, that is blending the traditional farming knowledge, because all the things we discuss has been within that region for centuries. While we move out is the problem what we create. So we hired some very traditional farmers to our technical advisory committee, and also we got the knowledge from them. So they advised us, these are good crops suitable for these lands. This crop will resilient for drought. This is resilient for floods. And these are the methods of saving the seeds in a low-cost way. And they have a very good knowledge in indigenous pest control methods. So all these things we have included in our program. So it's a combination of some local technology and some very simple adaptable technologies. So then people were able to produce. But then they have another problem, because they were used to monoculture. But what we gave them is a different crop mix, like 35 different varieties, which they might find some 10 or 15 varieties they can sell, but others they cannot sell. So if we are working on a model like this, it's very important to link the market. So we have strengthened the community societies with very simple equipments. We gave them proper baskets to market the products, then small weighing scales and simple machineries with a very simple building. Something like to a village cost something like within a 7,000 euro total equipment. So the farmers, they were able to collect all their products to one place, to sell it, and sell the excess to the outside market. So, and also to facilitate this, we have created a small farmer group, a farmer umbrella network, that is toxin-free producers network. Because once we talk about organic, it will want certification. And for the small developing countries, small developing farmers, certification is costly. because annual certification cost is going to be very high. So that's one point why they are moving away from selling organic certified products. So we didn't want to export it directly. So we branded a new product as toxin-free producers. All the buyers are free to come and inspect our system, and they can market it. So this as an alternative system, and we have created a logo and a toxin-free producer network, and we gave some simple machineries to increase their marketing capacities. And at the same time, we have paid full attention on maintaining the quality of international standards, because even we are working with very rural communities, the product should reach the higher end. So through the project, we were able to, the people were able to sell vegetables, pulses and fruits at local levels, then some value-added products like spices to national level. And actually, at the moment, they are moving from national level to international level through the special help of Oxfam, because we have been working as a team, and the Oxfam is helping in marketing the products from this group globally in Oxfam shops. So this is one photo of the person from Oxfam shop visiting the production centers where she want to place the orders. And also working with Dry Zone, we help them in digging some wells to increase water accessibility. And with the community motivation, we have developed some irrigation systems. And also, this is what we expect from the community to the nature. We have provided something, and their responsibility is to look after the nature. So we help them to produce 9 plant nurseries. And out of that, the community in different initiatives, they initiate planting programs, and they take the plants from us and plant in the lands. So we did a very big community movement, and we have planted something like 190,000 plants through seedlings, and also we used something known as seed balls, where seed is placed inside a clay ball, and it would be placed in the dry season. Once the rain is there, it will dissolve and plant will come up. And also to reduce illegal logging, we did some planting on firewood by live fencing. So this is what we did to the community and what we expected from the community, and it's going very good. Thank you. Yes. It's about 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 to 2.5.
Okay. So this was the last selected best sustainable development practice to link with the others, because the Feeding Knowledge platform is full of this kind of practices. We will watch a very short video that will explain in less than 2 minutes what Mr. Fazli just told us. Thank you again, Mr. Fazli. This one?
Yeah, that's it.
This one?
No? Women Empowerment in Sri Lanka. That's
Women Empowerment.
Yeah. That's a video.
Okay, thanks a lot. You can, and then we will give you afterwards, okay? You can go. Just take it. Thanks.
අපේ ගමට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා තිරසාර මුසිජන් ජීවිතේ නගා සිටින වැඩසටහනින්. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම අපිට මේ වැඩසටහන ගොඩාක් වැදගත් වෙනවා කාන්තාව වෙන අපිට. අපි ඇලරි කමිටුවේ දැන්ට 4 දෙනෙක් ඉන්න. මේ 4 දෙනා තමයි දැන් ෂෙයාර් එකතු කරලා ඒවා කරගෙන යනවා. තව වියලි ඖෂධ ಜಾති එකතු කරනවා. ඒවා එකතු කරලා පැකට් කරලා ඒ වගේ දේවල් කරලා අපි අලෙවි කරලා තියෙනවා. අලෙවි සර්වි කරලා මේ වෙනකොට මුදල් සපයාගෙන තියෙනවා. ඇත්තට මේ වැඩසටහන ගොඩාක් දුරට හොඳයි.
So this video helps us to shift to the second part of this conference. The best sustainable development practices on Finning Knowledge platform that are guested by Expo 2015 are very different. There is everything. We have just seen collaborative approach, NGOs, governments, local communities, private sector companies. Now I'm going to introduce the sustainable practice about the sustainable yogic agriculture. This experience comes from India, and before the presentation of the practice, I will invite on the stage Mr. Arun Sharma, that will give a short introduction. Mr. Arun Sharma is General Consul to India in Milan. So please. Okay.
Good morning to everyone, and thank you to the United Nations for holding this international competition on best sustainable development practices for food security. Thanks to the Polytechnic of Milano and the Mediterranean Agronomy Institute of Wari for the diligence and enthusiasm during this notable Feeding Knowledge program. As you all know, 21st June was declared as International Yoga Day, thanks to the initiative taken by our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Yoga is an ancient culture of India, and all types of yoga are practiced with positive results. The ancient practice of Raja Yoga, that is positioning the mind, is lesser known and often seen as a practice of meditation. The effects, however, can be seen even in a household when care and attention are given to the plants. One professor of the medicine told his student that if you happen to visit a dentist or a doctor, just look at the plants in his waiting room. If they are well taken care of, the chances are that you will be taken care of well. So, to know more about sustainable yogic agriculture, this is an interesting and innovative technique of using the power of the mind in farming. Let us listen to one of the members of the Brahma Kumari organization, who is based in Rome at Italy's Coordination Center, Sister Radha Gupta. Thank you.
Thank you, Consul.
Thank you very much for inviting us and for giving us this opportunity to share with you this very interesting, you can say, initiative or innovation on sustainable yogic agriculture. This initiative is actually based on organic agriculture, practices and inputs, together with the practice of meditation. It was actually started maybe about, I think, 10 or 15 years ago with the vision of seeing smallhold farmers being able to live and work in an environment that is healthy, that is happy, that is actually something that brings peace in the community. And in fact, what was seen from one of the local meditation centers in central India was they were observing the people that would come to meditate, to learn meditation, and they found that they were very much under the pressure of the chemical inputs, the high costs, the delusionment really of the seeds failing each year. That having to buy new seeds each year. And so the vision was, how can we actually help these people in a way using the practice that is part of the ancient culture of India. And so the purpose really was to actually have a combination of the agricultural practices for small farmers and the metaphysical use of mind power. Basically, one of the things that's often said is that as is the food, so is the mind. And this practice also puts it the other way around, is that as is the mind, so is the food. And so if the quality of your thoughts and feelings as you're actually producing and growing the food are of a high quality and are peaceful, and actually contain the energy from the source, from the supreme, and are in harmony with nature, then the food actually produced will carry much more nutritional value. And so actually this idea then was taken to a number of different research universities in India. And actually, it's now being practiced by about 1,500 farmers in different states of India. And these are people who now are fully trained in the practice of meditation, in organic agriculture, and are able to actually train and mentor other farmers. And in that way, it's a farmer-to-farmer mentoring and training, which is something that is, of course, much more effective than other people coming from outside. So some of the main, if you like, achievements from this practice, from this initiative, have been that farmers have once again have got back a sense of purpose and a sense of hope to actually reduce the number of cases of suicide in India, which is something that was becoming more and more of a problem. And so they were actually becoming more encouraged intergenerationally, not just the farmers there, but their children, to actually take on agriculture as a viable vocation, as something that is, not to be left and go off in search of other livelihoods. Basically, the main achievements here have been also to set up very good relationships with the research institutes, which will actually help to spread this kind of initiative to different parts of India. The research that's been done has been very interesting, actually, because it divided up over 5 years, from 2010 to 2014, divided up a piece of land into 3 different sections. One was purely chemical inputs, one was organic, and one was organic plus meditation. And in the first year, the chemical output and harvest was high, but from the organic and the organic plus meditation, it was the third one, or the organic plus meditation, that had a higher yield of wheat. And by the 5th year, the organic plus meditation had actually was actually the highest, and it had even outrun the chemical inputs. And so it was something that was very encouraging, and this kind of research is something that we would like to be able to do more. And one of the interesting things is that the whole of this project and initiative has been more or less completely self-funded, that there haven't been any big major funding from any kind of organization, just simply with the backing of the Brahma Kumari's Research and Education Foundation, and who organize trainings in the local center, in the local meditation center, which are present in all over India and outside India as well, but of course encouraging the local farmers to bring these practices within their work and their life. And one of the things that was found, which was actually that the general well-being within the community, within the family, within the relationships grew. Because the practice of meditation, the aim is to actually have an internal well-being and start from inside to be able to influence the rest of our interaction, our daily work, our practice, which we call karma yoga, or the connection within our actions. I won't go into the details of the research, but it's something that can also be seen from our different websites. But the practice of meditation, just very simply from the meditation point of view, not from the research point of view, has been, for example, to take the seeds and before planting, to actually place them in the meditation room for 1 week up to 1 month. And following this, when they are planted, the farmers and the family and the members of the community would go into the fields and actually meditate in the fields itself. And the meditation very simply involves considering the self to be a peaceful being, to draw the energy from the supreme source, from the ocean of peace, from the protector of human beings and nature, and to actually draw that energy, creating positive and powerful thoughts within the self, a state of being that is peaceful, and therefore creating that vibration that is around. And I think the main conclusion of all of this that has been drawn really is that sustainable yogic agriculture is in harmony with nature, with consciousness, and with human beings in general, and is a viable option in order to actually bring about well-being in local rural communities. Sustainable yogic agriculture is free, and it actually has shown that yields are increasing, and in fact the nutritional content of the actual plants that are grown is higher. And this has been part of the research that has been done by the agricultural universities, that by meditating on the crop, the nutritional content of each of the produce is actually higher. And the final conclusion is that the farmers, in fact, have reacquired a sense of purpose and have reacquired a self-esteem, and are therefore able to put that energy into their families, into their fields, into the community in general. And so Thank you very much. And I would like to suggest that we spend 30 seconds, is that possible? 30 seconds just to connect with our own state of being that is peaceful, and so we can conclude this part in that way. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gupta. We will now present another best sustainable development practice. This is called the School in the Field, when schools meet farms, and Mrs. Maria Teresa Besana is coming up to the stage. This is quite a challenge to make the meditation and the research meet. So this was quite challenging, but who knows? Who knows? And maybe different solutions are good for different contexts. Not maybe. This is there is no one size fits all, as they said in Brussels.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting us here. And it's interesting to see that the educational farms, also in Lombardy region, are also organic farm and also social, and I would say also mind-heart based on, I would say so. Let's start with some questions. Why dedicate precious time in the classroom to talk about food? How can we enhance the didactic role of agriculture and promote school trips to farms? How do we talk about it and with that purpose? With what purpose? My name is Maria Teresa Besana, and I have been working in Lombardy region, agriculture department, for 16 years, dealing with the food education and the project for schools and citizens. When Milan was officially appointed as the venue for Expo 2015, with the theme Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life, Lombardy region, with a historic experience on agri-food education, felt involved and began thinking about the role the institution could play in this great international debate. So we involved the primary school teachers and educational farmers with the support of the University of Milano Bicocca, Educational Human Science Department, to develop an innovative methodological model for agri-food education, thinking above all for tomorrow's teachers. Between 2010 and 2015, the project developed 5 courses: food, culture and identity, from the land to the table, school in the field, farms meet schools, and do you know what you eat? Each one taking on different themes. The first, the relation and the cultural significance of the act of eating and the close relationship between food, environment, and agriculture. The second, the complexity of agricultural production between past, present, and future. And third, the landscape as a product of man's relationship with the nature in the territory, and the farm as a living organism. In these years, the diffusion of the project has engaged over 400 teachers in the region, from primary school, and more than 200 educational farms in an exchange of know-how and skills between the teachers and the farm operators responsible for developing these teams. Now we can see a homemade video, and we will show you a sample of our work. Thank you very much. Ce ne sono due, uno è punto avi e l'altro, aspetta, sì, sì, no. Non
è qui?
No, prova, bando feeding knowledge, aspetta, che chiediamo a Elsa che dove sono, che così.
Di solito li mettiamo prima della che si
ok.
ecco.
Lei, forse avevamo chiesto, ma... Ecco, videoclip non si vedevano. Grazie. Grazie mille.
Grazie. Se vuoi dire una parola dopo, cioè c'è una parola sola.
we leave some leaflet about the project outside, and thank you very much.
Grazie, thanks to Maria Teresa Besana. And from Italy we move to Mozambique. Nicola Pagani will tell us about agroecology in Mozambique, exchanging agro-sustainable knowledge.
So, hello to everyone. My name is Nicola Pagani, and I'm the president of the AFAL NGO. Well, the AFAL is a small NGO from Milan, and we are specialized in rural development, and mainly in dissemination and application of organic and regenerative agriculture, and also of other sustainable practices. I would like first to thank the Feeding Knowledge organization for selecting our project, among the others, as a best practice. We are really honored to be here, and it's a really a great pleasure to be here. So, because of the lack of time, I will give just few information, and I will show you a small 3 minutes video. The project was, that we present here was founded by Regione Lombardia and Fondazione Cariplo with the Valdensian Churchill also. And was held between 2013-2014 in Mozambique, as he told. And thanks to a partnership with GVC NGO from Bologna, that has made possible the involvement of key local partners as the UNAC, that is the National Farmer Union of Mozambique, and the Palawasokoti Farmer Association near Maputo. The project is an example of what we intend for development cooperation, and mainly of what we, of the meaning of the word cooperate. I would say a two-way relationship that is realized through different exchange process, north-south, south-south, but even south-north. Obviously, it depends from the needs. In this way, for many years, the AFAL catalyzed experiences of best agricultural practices in other countries, and mainly in the southern countries. Once learned, we disseminate those knowledge and practices. Just some example. Organic and regenerative agriculture with Jairo Restrepo Rivera, that is from Colombia, and you will see in the video, or the keyline experience with Eugenio Gras from Mexico, the biointensive horticulture of Juan Martinez Valdez, also from Mexico. And we shared with him an experience just 1 month ago in Rome. And at the end, Owen Hablutzel is an American expert in permaculture and holistic management, and he will be here in Lombardy just in October. So in this context of exchanging knowledge and experience, born our project. We realized a training course, as you will see, for the UNAC technicians with Jairo Restrepo Rivera. And then, under the guidance of the AFAL experts, we experimented the practices that we learned in 11 Mozambican regions. Nowadays, the project goes on, and the aim is to improve the commercialization through the earth market of Maputo in collaboration with Slow Food. So we can go to the movie. much. I will leave some brochure if you are interested. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks to Nicola Pagani. Next practice, next country, next experience, next issue. Drinking water disinfection is a major issue in poorest country, and the next project is about this. The design of a parabolic through solar concentrator for drinking water disinfection in resource limited countries. Luca Rondi is coming to the stage. Thank you, Luca. And the project was done in Cameroon, right?
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'll just briefly present you our best practice on the parabolic through solar concentrator. Partners that implemented the project and the practice. Chetan Lab, that is a research center on appropriate technologies for environmental management in resource-limited countries from the University of Brescia, and I work here at the Chetan Lab. Then the other partner was Ada Onlus, Onlus from Brescia always. And then two high schools, one from the province of Mantova and the other one from the province of Brescia, always in Italy. And then a private enterprise, Ditta Radice, from the province of Como, that helped us building this parabolic through solar concentrator. Where we implemented this project in Cameroon, and specifically in a small rural community that was a technical high school, in the village of Babone, in the northwest part of the country. And we worked there, but before we built this technology at the University of Brescia and in a research center in Switzerland, Dubendorf. The objectives of the project were the design, construction, validation of this technology in order to disinfect water, and the other one was, after understanding how it works, to develop it in the rural high school of Babone. So, as you know, pathogens, so fecal microorganisms, can be killed if the water is just like, it goes at high temperatures, and higher is the temperature, shorter is the time needed for killing these pathogens. So the functioning of this technology is quite easy. We just take the sun, the solar radiations, and we try to concentrate it in a specific tube. I will show you it here. So we took a tank filled with water to be treated, and then the water can pass through this black tube. Solar radiation just goes through this aluminum foil, and the radiation goes to the tube, and the tube is black. So the heater goes high, and so water can be treated, and the water treated just goes in the final tank. So this is how the technology works. Then we are a research center, so we made research on the optimization of this technology. So we improved with a thermostatic valve for controlling the temperature, and we found that the exact temperature for killing all the pathogens was 87 degrees. And we made microbiological tests for underlying which was the grade of inactivation of these bacteria. Then we moved to Babone, to the high school of Babone, with the help, obviously, of the Ada Onlus. And we developed the same technology with local materials. That's the important thing, local materials, in the high school of Babone. So here, the best practice realized in the field. So the school, some of 700 students and more or less 40 teachers. So the absorber, that means the black tube here, it's 10 meters long, and the volume of treated water can be 11 liters inside the tube. Water treated per day, maximum about 300 liters per day. This depends on the solar radiation, so if there is the sun or it's cloudy, for example, obviously the amount of water that can be treated just decrease. And this is a technical number, so about 9 log reduction of Escherichia coli. That means about 99.9% of reduction of these pathogens. So really briefly, the presentation of the technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we came to the Biodiversità Parma, a new approach to sustainable practices in animal production, sustainable development of small rural communities. Mr. Carlo Diaferia is coming on the stage. Presentazione green room, no? Sotto, perfetto. Oh. What's up? Okay, perfect. Some technical problems.
Thank you, and morning at all. The title is Biodiversità Italy Parma, a new approach to sustainable practice in animal production. The main objective of the experience is to exchange the local animal population, creating a virtuous chain that starts from farmers to processors and comes to the final consumers. The beneficiaries are represented by rural population of disadvantaged areas in terms of economic environment in the province of Parma, extended to other geographical areas. The breeding of local breeds in the province of Parma involving about 50 farmers, 3 slaughterhouses, 2 processing plants, restaurant, and or farmhouse. The presentation is principally a video, but sorry, the video is in Italian languages and no in English languages. But I think the image are universal. Thank you.
Sono nelle montagne del nostro Appennino, da Monchio delle Corti mi sposto a Schia, poi transumando vengo a Grimone e mi fermo quando arriva la neve, mi fermo a Barbiano, dove c'è un ricovero, quando viene la neve le metto in stalla.
Poi la pecora cornisese arriva a pesare anche 100-120 kg, può campare, non so, 8, 9, 10 anni, anche 10 anni o anche di più. In 2 anni fa 3 volte. Non è che stanno a fare startun, poi la fa adesso e poi la fa startun e dopo sta primavera allunga il portiro.
I tacchini vivono in parte chiusi in questo recinto che si vede, in parte vengono liberati nel pomeriggio sera perché altrimenti si perdono nei boschi e è difficile poi trovarli. Quindi liberandoli verso sera poi hanno poco tempo per allontanarsi, quindi si riesce poi a farli rientrare.
Allora, noi come azienda abbiamo deciso di avere questo progetto come parlavamo prima, anche perché pensiamo di avere delle soddisfazioni a livello di qualità, una qualità di carne molto superiore a quella che siamo abituati a mangiare. Di conseguenza sarà un animale che non sarà mai i 14-15 kg, i 10 kg delle femmine che ci sono in commercio a livello industriale, sarà un tacchino di 3 kg delle femmine o 8 kg e mezzo e 6-7 kg maschi. Abbiamo una carne molto più olivastra, con un colore più intenso, a differenza del tacchino che sembra sempre molto bianco, e come potremmo paragonare questa carne, diciamo, si avvicina molto al colore della faraona, forse è una mezza via tra la faraona e il pollo, un po' meno olivastra della faraona, però sono sempre con una carne abbastanza scura. Questo è un animale che bisognerebbe prendere il metà tacchino intero, mettere una tua bella casseruola e cercare di mangiare tutti dalle parti più povere alle parti più buone.
Allora, il suino nero è per vocazione un animale adatto ad essere allevato allo stato brado. I nostri nonni lo sapevano bene, è stato 5 minuti in tutto. Tempi che è stata fatta una scelta per andare verso un suino come quello bianco, come quello rosa, che poi si è adattato invece a essere allevato nei piccoli caseifici e a chiudi. Gli animali hanno di natura un grifo molto ben pronunciato, sono animali che hanno delle orecchie che gli riparano gli occhi dalle spine, dai raggi solari diretti, hanno una grande facilità nello scavare, quindi nel poter raggiungere facilmente le radici, qualche tubero, i bulbi che sono sottoterra. La loro passione per i lombrichi è risaputa, lo stesso colore nero aiuta trattenere il calore durante i mesi invernali, quindi gli animali li vediamo spesso e volentieri fuori all'aperto, volentieri nel poco sole dei mesi invernali, per raccogliere appunto il calore che serve per aiutare a riscaldare gli organi. L'animale naturalmente trova in natura una grande quantità di fibra, una grande quantità di radici, e quindi l'apporto che dobbiamo dare per integrare la dieta del suino al pascolo è data essenzialmente dalla parte energetica degli amidi, quindi dei carboidrati e delle proteine. Presenza di una mezzena di suino nero che sarà poi oggetto di trasformazione. Si evince la caratteristica del suino nero dal colore delle carni e dal nero degli zoccoli. Mediamente il peso vivo è di circa 2 quintali, mesi di vita possiamo definirli compresi tra i 18 e i 20 mesi. Vediamo ora quali tagli andremo a preparare. Dalla parte posteriore ricaveremo la coscia per il prosciutto, dalla parte inferiore della mezzena la pancetta, dalla parte anteriore la spalla e la coppa nella zona, chiamiamola la zona cervicale, nella zona della testa, che non è presente in questa mezzena ma è presente nell'altra.
Thank you.
So we are at the last presentation, Antonio Prota for Green Road Fame.
Well, my name is Antonio Prota. I'm a president of LAG, a local action group in the south of Italy, in Puglia. The company have 100 partners and 11 little countries, and we discussed about to create a model, an economical model to develop in this area. They start from tourism, use the driver of tourism to develop, and also agricultural, handcraft and commerce. And this is the idea of the model that is based on on 4 activities. food, art, moved energy. So about the food, we discussed we have more than 11 research on this model. And about the food, for example, we discussed about what is the best. Is the best is salubrity or 0 kilometer, for example. And finally, we decided that is best salubrity, just also because this model born in Puglia, in an area near Taranto, where there is a big problem with the environment, with this hard economy like iron and steel. So doesn't mean nothing if you have an organic farm near this big industry, because in this case also the food was contaminated. So we're discussing about that, and we found the best way to applicate this model in different area. And this for food, not only for food, but also for handcraft, for that is normally is very artistic, and also for the move. For example, we study with some point for recharge of all the mobility, electrical mobility for tourism, and not only, also for people that live, and then sports construction. And the other important thing is obviously energy, because energy is part of life, and however, it's not only energy for the electrical energy, but also the energy of the place, and the important, for example, the olive oil tree that we have in Puglia is something very, for the meditation we heard about the Yogi project was very interesting, because really the energy of the place sometimes is so strong that we have to create the development of just what we have, or what the nature gives to us. So this is the model that we decided to applicate, that is determined of 11 research from also the Council of Research of CNR, the National Italian Research, from University of Bari, with Campus Biomedico di Roma, with a lot of center of research that help us to create this economical model. And then, well, this is the logo that we use. This is the place where we start. We start in Puglia with the Green Road, the idea of Green Road, of this project, the idea of a direction, but in a direction where we try to connect all the point of this direction. And also not only the touristic place, like we see, it was an old farm we call Masseria, so the project start to remodeling with the European Fund, remodeling this Masseria, and in also touristic place, but they remain agricultural place of product. And so, but also we replicate the same project in Basilicata with the Eni Foundation, and then also in Calabria, also always in the south of Italy, and now also we work in Lombardia too, with another association that we call Cento Cascine. And the last important place where we are working is Honduras, because in this area we create a green road in a Mayan place, just to show how it is possible to replicate this model in a coffee farm, and also in a different kind of culture. And everything obviously is being produced in an organic way. We create a little book of this manual, and obviously all the technological part and gadget, and also a festival. We create a festival on that with a testimonial with this very famous actor in Italy, Enzo De Caro, and with also some, well, also with also a blue road that we are working for the Ionian dolphin conservation. And well, feeding knowledge was for us a very important opportunity to develop in this model, and for obviously a green growth that is what we are looking for. Thanks a lot, and for this great opportunity.
Thanks to Antonio Prota, and thanks for the collaboration to every of the speakers, because we have some time left for questions and remarks. So any question or any remark? It's very difficult to sum all these experiences up. Maybe diversity and difference is the thing that comes to the attention. Any question or remarks? No, so I would ask, if I mind, since Madame Kyenge is still with us, if you can give us some final remarks on this day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, but I want to speak in French. No problem. Merci beaucoup. En tout cas, merci pour cette journée. Et je crois que ça a été très intéressant pour tout le monde. Et surtout, le fait de pouvoir partager les bonnes pratiques, le fait de pouvoir échanger les bonnes pratiques, tout ce que j'ai vu aujourd'hui, ça peut être utile dans le pays là où la bonne pratique a été développée, mais je crois que c'est utile aussi de pouvoir exporter ces bonnes pratiques dans d'autres dans d'autres parties de la planète. Et je crois que l'objectif principal, c'est justement celui-là, de pouvoir avoir beaucoup plus de qualité dans l'agriculture, beaucoup plus de qualité dans un nouveau style de vie, et ça va nous permettre aussi de pouvoir contribuer à un thème qui est très important, que je considère comme une des priorités, c'est-à-dire le changement climatique dans un nouveau style de vie. Et je crois qu'à travers toutes ces bonnes pratiques, on pourrait arriver à des bons résultats pour combattre la pauvreté, combattre la malnutrition, mais aussi pour permettre à chaque personne sur la planète de pouvoir avoir une vie assez aisée, de pouvoir devenir protagoniste aussi du développement de notre planète. Merci en tout cas, merci de ma part aux organisateurs, et j'espère que cette expérience ne va pas rester seulement à l'intérieur de l'Expo, et que une fois que Expo va terminer, il faudra qu'on puisse essayer de valoriser beaucoup plus cette expérience au-delà de Milan, au-delà de l'Italie. Merci à tous.
Merci beaucoup. We have a list, but last but not least, we have an unforeseen, because diversity is also unforeseen things, and there are some pleasant unforeseen. So I would invite to the stage Mr. Giuseppe Sorrentino, that was in the list of the best practices with the new age of agriculture in the Ufita Valley, southern Italy, an original approach to rural development through the Expo generation.
Good morning at all. Good morning, I'm Dr. Giuseppe Sorrentino from CNR, and I work I'm expert in sustainable agriculture in land subject to the desertification and marginal land. This is my project. We work on southern Italy. This is the forecast prevision for the climate change in southern Europe. And our area will be interested in the next future of reduction of annual rainfall, increase of drought, and increase of desertification object. In this slide, I show all our activity of the last 10 years, and our best practice attained on the last 3 years. We are studying the Volturno plain, on the left, the area subject to desertification, to find new cropping system. The groundwater of this area is affected by the sea, and now is not possible to grow some crops as tomato, as cherry and pepper. We are introducing the new crops as hemp, quinoa, and amaranth. Another type of resource in cooperation with the CM of Bari is the management of natural resource. We developed of some instruments to measure the exactly water lost of by plant. This is for the olives, for grapes, and for barley. Another cooperation for southern Italy is on agriculture under water scarcity for the forecast climate provision. And with the CRA of Foggia, we have identified a wet water mutant, a new type of wet that at the end of my presentation, I will show to you with a short video of 30 seconds. Finally, on the left, we have our best practice on biodiversity in small rural community of southern Italy. This is the region where we considered our interest. Ufita Valley, in the last 30 years, as the depopulation is about 30% of people, young people, is going away. The agriculture is very poor, but this area is very interesting because it's very rich in biodiversity. Campania region supports CNR to invest and to find the solution because after 5 years ago, this area was supported by European community with the contribute to tobacco cultivation. After 5 years ago, this contribute was stopped. It was not easy to find a profitable crop. We explore new solution in crop system, but our idea was to involve the school, the children, because the age of agriculture is the main reason for scarcity of innovation. So, after tobacco, the Campania region give a contribute to people to maintain biodiversity in the marginal land of Campania region. But if you see in this slide, all the people is very, very old. And we can repeat the same problem of tobacco. Our ideas, our new ideas, is to involve the young student of this area. If you see this picture on the right, you can see all the young people of this area. It's only 40 students. In this area, there is not only 3 children under 3 years, but we start with school children and with the student. So, in this project of biodiversity, we was involved elementary school of Villa Maina city, a mountain community of Ansanto Valley, that make a take-home ancient fruit of Irpinia. The idea is to prepare this student for the new occupation as the steward of biodiversity. This is for the student between up to 40 years. Our study with the professor of school, G. De Gruttola di Ariano Irpino, was evident that the farm of all these students occupy about 2,000 hectares. We organize with this student an agreement with CNR and give them the opportunity to introduce in their farm a new crop as quinoa. Quinoa is a new farm with a low ambiental impact, with gluten-free, and is the first time that was introduced in Italy. The student collaborate with CNR to define a protocol of cultivation, and was very enthusiastic to participate in this research project. But the collaboration regards also the cooperation in this area, because after the stop the aid to tobacco, some farmers reintroduce an ancient durum wheat Consorzio Formicoso, that include 25 families and is recognized for European Union as best practice. They receive 100 euros for hectares because this durum wheat don't need fertilized and desherb because it's high size. Sustainable durum wheat Senatore Cappelli with high size cultivated without fertilization, and this is the first case in this area of association of farmers, 25 families. We are studying with this cooperative to introduce the new crop as quinoa in the crop system. This is the human resource that is collaborating with this project with the student, and the reintroduction of local biodiversity and the new biodiversity has demonstrated great effect on environmental ambient. Tobacco is irrigated. With the stop of tobacco cultivation, we have saved 40 million of meters cubed of water, and all this pesticide with the amelioration of ambient. The sustainable transferability and duplicability of project will can continue because we received from the European Union a new project with the name Protein for Food. And with the student and with the cooperative, we can introduce the minor leguminous as grass pea that has lower environmental impact and conserve the soil fertility. We can continue to work in this project until 2020. This is the new innovation, and I've finished. This is the new innovation that we can introduce in area subject to desertification and water scarcity. I will show is only 30 seconds to see this video. No, devo un attimo indietro, come si è fatto? No, ci sta. Era la penultima slide, perché è molto interessante. Questa qui, perfetto. Devo andare in modalità presentazione, poi parte. Andiamo su questa, lo mettiamo in modalità presentazione. Perfetto, apriamola tutta, mettiamola in modalità presentazione, questa qui, qua. Perfetto. E adesso dovrebbe partire. No, non ci riesco. Ok.
Thank you very much. So, we run out of time. Thank you everybody for the participation. Tomorrow is the last day of this intense week. As I say every day, the conversation is not ended. The conversation starts outside of the room. Exchange your contacts, exchange experience, share experience, and I hope to see you tomorrow for the priority food consumption patterns, diet, environment, society, economy and health that will close this Best Sustainable Development Practice Week at Expo 2015. See you tomorrow.